All right, Zero, we are at the end of the podcast, but as usual, we would have a question. But since this is the beginning of a new month, we're going to talk about the new releases that are happening this month. And we're going to start right away with Overwatch 2, which released today, but of course we can't play, which we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast. So I don't know if there's more to add on Overwatch 2 in this. I think it's going to do a lot of sales. The question to me is what it will do on seasons 2 and 3. That's where I would be curious as to what happens, because I think it will sell very well on the first season and within the first month. It'll be future months is where I'm curious.
Yeah. I think the other metric that I'll be curious on is player retention.
Right.
If the player population is going to be as huge and as popping as it is right now, or if it's just going to take a nosedive within a week or something. Because with a live service game, that's really going to be the most important metric, player retention. Because if you aren't able to retain your player population, then it's not going to look good financially for Activision Blizzard, and they're going to start putting heavy eyes on the game, saying, we're not getting our return on investment. We might have to consider pulling the plug on this and everything. Mm-hmm. Now, am I automatically condemning Overwatch 2 to doom and gloom? No, most certainly not. But that is one question that is on my mind, because I know a lot of the criticism that I've been seeing has been that, just the monetization plan is just a little bit too aggressive. And in an era where people are a little bit more conscious about microtransactions, that is a fair concern to have, because if the monetization plan is just way too aggressive, way too ham-fisted, then yeah, you're going to have people who are turned off and who are just going to say, you know what, I want to get this costume, but it's just way too much effort to do. Fuck this, I'm not interested in playing anymore. I don't want anything to do with this. Boom, I'm uninstalling it, and I'm just going to forget Overwatch exists.
Yeah.
So you've got that problem. And then the other problem is Kiriko, the new character that was revealed before Overwatch 2 would release to the public today. Mm-hmm. She is the last tier on the season pass. So depending on how bad the grind is to get to the final level tier in the season pass to unlock Kiriko, that might turn off players too, because if a bunch of players are like, oh man, Kiriko's sick, oh my god, I gotta have her, and then they get on that treadmill to try to play the season pass to unlock her, and it turns out that the grind is just way too bad, then yeah, you could have another potential scenario where just players drop off going, yeah, this grind for Kiriko is not fun. Fuck this. I refuse to play this anymore.
Yeah. And people are becoming more conscious about games turning into mini jobs at this point. So they don't want to spend more time than they need in order to enjoy and play a game. Like I'll always use an example. I play MLB The Show, and I play I play the game a lot, but there are definitely 1 or 2 hours within a couple of weeks where I have to go through the marketplace and sell duplicate cards just to get my stubs back. And that can take up to an hour or two to do, because I guess it's also because of how much I hold on opening packs and then selling. But you do have to spend time in the marketplace and gaming that marketplace in order to get the max amount of stuff possible. So, and if you have to do that a lot in Overwatch, and you have to treat it like the only game you play, that could potentially be a turnoff as well. So, my question also is this, because a lot of people are also complaining about it going from 6v6 to 5v5. If the stink is bad enough, could they change it back?
Ooh, that's a real good question, because I know that the big reason they were adamant on going to the 5v5 format was they felt that some of the matchups in the esports scene were just a bit too stale.
Yeah.
So It'll be really curious to see if this change in the meta does end up achieving the goal that they had been going off about on saying, hey, we want more colorful matches, a little bit more creativity on the meta and everything. Because if the 5v5 format does give them the sort of diversity in the meta that they've been looking for, then I don't see it changing anytime soon. But if it's one of those things that somehow magically the meta gets just as stale as it was as a 6v6 game, then I wonder if Blizzard will be desperate enough to go, okay, well, we got to change this because we're losing players like crazy, or if it's going to be one of those, well, the game engine was built around 5v5. There's no way we can change it. We'd like to change it, but, just unfortunately, the situation is what it is. So, sorry, we can't do a damn thing about it.
Yeah, and that's certainly a possibility. If the monetization and grind is bad enough, they could always change that. That would be easy. But yeah, the switch from 5v5 back to 66 could be an issue. Let's move on. There's some ports that I want to just highlight. On October 6th, Nier Automata, the End of Yorha edition, comes out on Switch. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because word has gone out that the port is actually very good. So if you have a Switch and haven't played it, this might be a purchase for you if you want to play this.
Yeah, and to clarify for anyone who's wondering about it, it is a Game of the Year edition, so you'll get all the DLC bundled in this package.
Yes. Okay, good. Another port that's coming from the Switch that also is getting some good buzz is No Man's Sky. It does not have multiplayer, apparently, but the port is still actually very good, even though maybe the detail is a little bit less just because of the hardware of the Switch. So that's coming out the 7th. That's the next day. Another port that is being released is No More Heroes 3. This is coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S on October 11th. So this was a Switch exclusive. Now it's coming to all consoles. So more to add on that?
I haven't played it. I've been meaning to go back and finish No More Heroes 1 and then finally get to No More Heroes 2, but that is one series that I just keep telling myself I'm going to go back to, and I just don't. So haven't really had much of a chance to see what 3 is all about. So again, I fear that this is going to be another one where I'll just end up sort of pushing it off until I finally get through the first 2 games.
Yeah. We'll move on. More sports games are being released. NHL 23 and PGA Tour 2K23 are being released both on the 14th. NHL hasn't been as popular since its arcade roots in NHL 96, 97 when it was in the Genesis. When they started becoming more sim-like and more difficult, they started getting less and less popular. But there is a dedicated fan base, so there's people who are going to buy that. PGA Tour is the one I'm curious about, because I played the Golf Club and PGA Tour 2K21 and just couldn't get into it. I wonder if they're going to do something different with this. I don't think they will, but the thing they're marketing is the fact that Tiger Woods is in this game. So, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, if you're interested, it's there. More to add. You want to have anything to comment on that?
I'm not much of a sports guy, so you may as well be speaking Greek to me.
Good. Okay. We'll move on. Dragon Ball The Breakers is next. I'm not even sure what this is.
I think it's like a tactical card game from what it looks like.
Is it like World Mission?
Maybe, I don't know. Just this one, I haven't been really paying too much attention to.
I haven't either, to be absolutely honest. Let's see right here. It's an online asymmetrical action game in which a band of 7 ordinary citizens tries to survive the raider. I don't know. what the Raider is. Apparently, it's an action game and a fighting game. I don't know. Like I remember hearing about this, and apparently it's only gonna be $20, so it's gonna be a cheap game. But I don't know much more about it. It's coming the 14th. It's coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, and Switch. So if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you probably have already pre-ordered it. A Plague Tale Requiem is being released on the 18th for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. This became a cult hit of sort. Well, no. I would say it was a modest hit. I mean, people eventually got around to playing it, and they enjoyed it, and they enjoyed the story. So that's an interesting release. What else do you think of A Plague Tale Requiem?
I haven't played it, but I've gotten word from friends who played the first game that they quite liked A Plague Tale. So I presume that those who are excited for it played it on Game Pass, and they're just waiting for the 18th to just drop by and just put the sequel out. Also, before I forget, on the 14th there is another release that's coming out, and this one it was announced last week that it's being released a week early, and that's Scorn. Scorn is being released on the 14th instead.
Oh, that's right. Okay, this list has not been updated. Yeah. So yeah, I know some people are excited for that game. I'm not for reasons, but hey, that's cool. I mean that's actually interesting. I think that was originally the 21st, right?
Yeah, the 21st. But last week they made an announcement. They're like, "Hey, actually, we're ahead of schedule, so we will be releasing this a whole week early. So get ready to play Scorn on the 14th."
Good. Okay. Well, that's good. We will move on. A port of Them's Fighting Herds is coming to PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Switch. I thought this was already on consoles, but I guess I'm wrong.
No. It was announced at EVO that it was coming to consoles, and October 18th was the official day.
Yep.
This one is huge because it will feature crossplay between every platform.
Including Switch?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Switch will not be left out on the crossplay antics. So, yeah, Switch players will be able to play with everyone. And, yeah, just this was discussed during the EVO announcement because it was just like, hey, Them's Fighting Herds is coming to consoles. Oh, P.S., every version is getting crossplay. And this is great because the game is very solid. Mechanically and everything, but as someone who bought the game in early access, just my long-term concern was how the player base was going to survive, because it's a fairly niche game. I'm not going to beat around the bush on it. So when I saw the initial announcement before they got to the crossplay part of the announcement, I was just like, okay, well that's neat, but all these platforms are going to be segregated because I don't see Them's Fighting Herds being like a particularly large system seller on any one particular system. But once they got to the part of the announcement where they were just like, oh, by the way, there's going to be cross-platform play, I was just like, okay, never mind. Problem solved. This is going to be great.
Yeah, that is great. I mean, I have not gotten into it, but I might give it a shot. I think I have it downloaded still after the last time we talked about this. So
yeah, because version 1.0 came out, and the previous DLC character Shanty, the goat pirate, is now free for everyone. So yeah, just now's a great time to come back to the game. If you weren't much of a fan of it during the early access days, definitely give it another shot and try it again. Because their version 1.0 release came out a couple months ago, and the game is just extremely solid now.
Okay. All right. Marvel Snap is also coming on the 18th. That's for PC, iOS, and Android. This was announced at the Marvel and Disney Game Showcase. All I've heard about is that it's a solid card game, but very grindy and could get very expensive.
Yeah,
So,
it was developed by Ben Brode, the same guy behind Hearthstone.
okay.
So, for anyone who likes Hearthstone, I've heard that Marvel Snap, for anyone who got into like the beta test period, they're just like, yeah, if you really liked Hearthstone, then Marvel Snap is gonna give you those warm fuzzies, kind of like what Hearthstone gave you. But yeah, ultimately the concerns I saw from a lot of people were just like, wow, this game is just really, really grindy, and just the potential for microtransactions to potentially just be extremely aggressive are all there.
Yeah. Marvel Snap is on Steam and it is free. I don't think it's available right now. No, you can wishlist it right now and they'll let you know it's available. So it is going to be on Steam. So I think I will at least check that out. I don't know if I'll put money into it because I'm still heavy into Gwent, but yeah, I'll check it out. A port of Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection is coming to PC on the 19th. You know, I think 2 is the best of all the Uncharted, but I really wonder why they couldn't take the ports from the PS4 versions of the first 3 and port them first and then do this later on. But I know some PC players are excited to play an Uncharted game, and they're great. So if you haven't played them, here's your chance. It's coming out the 19th.
I have the collection sitting around on my media shelf for PS4, but
Yeah.
I just have never gotten around to finishing any of the Uncharted games.
One's fine. During its time, 1 was really good. But 2 is excellent. It's a great story. It's fun. It's got great action sequences. 3 is good. But yeah, like of the first 3, I think 2 is the one I think you should play. And you don't need to play the first game to enjoy it. So if you're really like, I don't know if I want to do all 3, play 2. And probably skip 1 at this point. They need to remake 1, I think. Because 1 still has 6-axis controls, where in order to actually throw grenades, you have to tilt the controller back and forth to get a good arc, and it just feels really awkward. So, yeah, there's that. Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope is coming on the 20th as well to Switch. They've done both Nintendo and Ubisoft have done a lot to promote the game. It's kind of quiet right now, which surprises me a little bit. But from what I saw, like, I'm definitely interested in what they're doing. They're adding more depth, and they're doing more with the franchise, and they're announcing other DLC with it too, which I'm not entirely thrilled with, but okay, whatever. But yeah, like, it's more Mario & Rabbids, and Mario & Rabbids is a very good game. I forget. Are you into these type of strategy games at most times, or are you kind of agnostic to it?
I actually quite liked Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Yeah.
It was super cute, and just the Rabbid versions of the characters were absolutely hilarious. Just of all the Rabbid version characters, I think Rabbid Luigi is the one that just cracks me up the most. Rabbid Peach is definitely a close second, though.
Right.
But yeah, just it pains me that I won't be able to buy Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope immediately due to some personal stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just if I had the money for it, yeah, just Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope, that would be a day one for me.
Right. I mean, you could always get it cheaper. Well, it is a Nintendo game, so probably not. But yeah.
Well, I mean, technically it's an Ubisoft game, and I mean, if it follows the same trend as Kingdom Battle, then I could probably end up just waiting for a while until they do like a gold edition sale on the eShop, where you can get everything for like $30, where it's just like game plus all the DLC or something.
Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. Okay. I'm looking forward to it too. I'm not sure if I'm going to buy it right away, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. More ports. Well, one port that we should talk about that is coming to PC, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and the Switch is Persona 5 Royal. I am expecting this to sell really well. I mean shockingly well. Like, I don't think it will sell great on Xbox because it'll also be on Game Pass. But I think on PC and Switch, it's going to do bonkers sales. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm partly in agreement with PC and Switch. Probably you'll see gangbuster sales on that. Xbox Series X and Xbox One, likely most people are going to probably try it out via Game Pass, but most people, I imagine, will probably just go, damn, this game's so good. Fuck this. I'm going to buy it. And hell, I get a 10% off discount because it's a Game Pass game. So fuck it. I'm going to throw my money down. The only platform I do not see getting great sales is PS5. And that's just mostly because of the fact that I haven't heard Atlas change their stance on this from the Japanese site, but there does not seem to be any sort of upgrade path for anyone who bought it on PS4. Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be, well, you want to play it in shiny 4K, then, you're just going to have to rebuy a copy on PS5 and just suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. And I haven't heard of them doing any graphical updates or any kind of polishing to the game. So it could just very well be that, and we talked about that when it was announced a while back, that it could just very well be that there is no graphical updates of any kind. So it would be kind of pointless to put the money towards coming up with a program to get the PS5 version, because the PS4 version just might be just as well, just as good, and it doesn't matter. So we'll see. If there is upgrades to it, then that would suck, and I would be pissed. But we'll see exactly how that turns out. That's coming out the 21st, and like I said, I'm expecting that to sell really well. What do you think? Top 10 in Steam when it comes out?
Likely,
Okay.
especially since just PC players have been begging for more Persona games to come out on Steam.
Yeah.
And same for Switch. I could easily see it hitting the Switch top 10 list easily on the day that it launches. So I want to say that those two platforms, I could easily see it breaking into the top 10 chart. Especially because PC and Switch players have been wanting to play Persona 5 Royal forever. So to have the game finally come out, yeah, just Atlas will definitely get their money back on the work and investment that they had to put into those two platforms for sure. Also, on the 21st, Gotham Knights also comes out, but that one is just going to be for 9th gen consoles, so just PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, and then also PC. This one, I'm a bit hazy on, mostly because of the fact that just they made a lot of clamoring that they had to go 9th gen console only because they needed the extra horsepower and everything, but the previews of this game just have not looked good.
No, and I haven't heard positive things about it either when it comes to previews. Like, I don't pay attention to preview coverage at all, because a lot of them, when they do previews, they tend to hold back a lot and excuse a lot of stuff by saying like curbing things, like saying, well, it's still in development, so it could get ironed out, or or not even mentioning the problems that they have in order to continue to have their preview access. So I don't pay attention to it, but even then, I'm not hearing great things about it. And it also sounds like to me, because they don't emphasize the two-player capability enough in this. Something tells me that two-player thing is tacked on. Like, it's not as comprehensive as people want it to be. Like, when I hear a two-player Batman game, I'm thinking, oh, I can be at one end of Gotham City here. This guy can do something else at this end in Gotham City. I don't think that's the case at all in this. And
No.
with it not looking that great either, like I'm I'm comfortable in thinking that this is probably not going to review very well. I think this will be an IGN 6, which is like
Oh yeah.
a 4 everywhere else. So we'll see on that. Yeah. Anything more on that game, Gotham Knights?
No, just for me, it just seems like a lot of rabble rousing to go ninth gen only, and then for just from everything on the previews and the preview builds of the game, it just doesn't look that good to warrant the rabble rousing that they had to go ninth gen only. Yeah. So I just have a feeling that this one is going to get plenty ripped by the critics on whenever the embargo releases.
Yeah, and I agree. Another one that's coming out on the 21st is New Tales of the Borderlands. The first Tales I think it did all right in sales, but got a lot of critical acclaim. So people are looking forward to this, and people who have played the first one are really excited by it. My only question is, I don't think it's first off, it's going to be $40 when it comes out, and I think it's still episodic. But on top of that, it's Gearbox who's making it, not the company that did the original one. I don't think they brought people from the original game into Gearbox, did they? I mean, I don't remember hearing that, at least.
Yeah, I don't think Skyfall Games is involved in this one at all. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, I think this is, like you said, a 100% Gearbox joint.
Okay. And I'm mentioning this because, and this is my opinion, of course, the writing team at Gearbox when it comes to Borderlands is absolutely awful. It's terrible. Like, I still cringe when I think about the story and the dialogue in Borderlands 3. So if it's those people who are doing this, you might want to curb your expectations a little bit, unless they took a writing class like before they made this. Which, if that case, good job on you. But I'm not expecting this to be very good, to be completely honest. I might be wrong, but
yeah, I'd like to be pleasantly surprised, but yeah,
yes.
I just have a feeling that this is not going to be as well crafted as the games that were previously made by Telltale. I want to say Telltale's new studio is called Skyfall or something to that end, and
Skydance.
The lack of Skydance. Yeah. So yeah, the lack of Skydance's involvement, I would say, to take that as a bad sign.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I have to agree with you. So let's move on to the next few releases. We're almost at the end. Star Ocean: The Divine Force is coming to PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X and S on October 27th. The last few Star Oceans haven't been very good. As far as I've heard, I haven't played much of them. I haven't played them since the PS2 or PS3, I think. And that's mainly because, like, the Star Oceans, I think it's Until the End of Time, I think was the last one I played, which was PS2, right?
I think.
Okay.
God, that's a series I haven't kept up with.
Yeah.
I will say that, unfortunately, I don't think this one is going to pan out too well, because it was reported just today from a Japanese gaming business news site called GameBiz, that apparently Tri-Ace, the company behind Star Ocean: The Divine Force, has been losing and bleeding money, and they haven't been earning very much money either. And then the one key piece on this article that GameBiz of Japan put out was that essentially Tri-Ace has been developing the Divine Force with virtually no income.
Oh my God! So they need this to be big. Is essentially what that sounds like.
Yeah, so pretty much just this could be the game that either makes or breaks their studio, and just if they've been working under that kind of stress, I just don't think that this game is going to be just the blockbuster that they're hoping it to be.
Yeah. Early word has not been great. It's not been bad either, but it's been more of a yeah, we'll see. It is kind of the word with that. So 27th, if you're interested in it. 28th, Bayonetta 3 for Switch is released. People have been looking forward to Bayonetta, the big Bayonetta fans, but this is not a series that sells very well. It's more of a cachet kind of thing for Nintendo, because Bayonetta is popular and they want to get, I guess, a certain group into the Switch ecosystem. So those people are going to be excited and will buy it, and that is it. That's I like Bayonetta, but it's not a big seller. So
Yeah, it's not a system mover for sure. I'm pretty excited because I managed to get a limited edition pre-order in.
yeah,
That's got like the alternate covers for Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3 in the box, and all the
nice.
other stuff. So yeah, definitely looking forward to my my limited edition copy coming in, because I got a physical copy of 2 when that came out. This past Saturday, I picked up my physical copy of 1, even though I got the digital key redemption from 2. So yeah, just having 3 on my media shelf is just going to be so nice.
That is cool. That is cool, and that looked like a good box set too. So I'm jealous, sort of. And finally, I think the big game that's coming out this month is, of course, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, the sequel to the remake of the original Modern Warfare. Yeah. That's coming out on the 28th. Of course, it will sell well. The beta was recently, and there were some interesting things about it. There are things that people are not happy with to a certain extent, but this will end up being a multi-million seller as usual. And I think this will end up being much more positive than, let's say, Vanguard or Cold War. I think this will be a good year for Call of Duty. And they are, in 3 weeks, they are also releasing Warzone 2.0. So there's that as well. What are your thoughts?
Modern Warfare 2, this is probably just going to be another great multiplayer game as usual, especially since a lot of the beta feedback has been generally pretty good. Mm-hmm. Story's probably going to be the usual bombastic first-person shooter story. So, just if you're kind of into big action movies, but you'd rather play through the action movie, then yeah, I imagine Modern Warfare 2 is probably going to be just a big box office movie style experience. So if you're into that, then you're probably going to be more than overjoyed to play through Modern Warfare 2. The delayed release of Warzone 2.0 with relation to Modern Warfare 2, there's definitely been a bit of chatter about that, especially the fact that any of the cosmetic items and stuff that you spent your hard-earned dollary dues on for Warzone 1 will not be coming with you to Warzone 2. Yeah. So there have been quite a number of people who've been quite upset about that.
Yeah, and honestly, I would be upset too by that. But they're claiming that Warzone 2.0 is a complete rebuild from the ground up. So, but what I expect to happen is that those old skins that they had from Warzone 1 are probably going to get resold again. Except for maybe like the John McClanes and Terminators and Rambos, where they would have to get the licensing all over again for that. So, yeah. Wait, I got a question. Does that mean Warzone 1.0 is going to be shut down?
The implication seems to be that Warzone 1 will be closed off. But it'll probably happen in due time. There'll be likely a heavy campaign to get people to migrate over to Warzone 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine it's just going to be, hey, move yourself over to Warzone 2.0. We're giving away, I don't know, a free skin or something to get all the holdouts who are just trying to stick to Warzone 1 and everything. And then once the population in Warzone 1 gets low enough, then they'll just go, oh, look, too bad. We got to close down Warzone 1 because there's just not a sustainable player population. But, Warzone 2 is in full swing, so join us over there.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are the releases. It's gonna be Modern Warfare 2 and Overwatch 2 who are gonna be the big releases this week, and they'll probably eat up a lot of the gaming dollars that happens this week. What do you think? You have any other releases that you think will sell pretty big?
For the month of October, Overwatch 2 likely will get everyone with Season Pass 1 because everyone's going to want Kiriko. And the real question will be just how bad the grind will be to unlock Kiriko, because if it's just going to be too bad, then while they may sell a ton of season pass ones, they may not have the player retention numbers to kind of make up the difference and everything.
Yeah.
So at least that's my thought on the matter. And then as far as anything else that might sell pretty well for this month, yeah, I think really just Persona 5 Royal for the non-PlayStation platforms is probably going to do pretty well, especially with just all the clamoring for just that game to appear on platforms that are not Sony powered.
Right.
And then lastly, just Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, that's just kind of a gimme.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Persona 5, thank you for mentioning that. Persona 5, I think, is going to sell really well. And I think it's going to be big for Sega, and I think it really is going to surprise people. So I think people are going to start thinking, oh, the people who really want Persona would have gotten it on PlayStation already. But not realizing that, not everyone wants to get a PlayStation. So I think, I honestly do think the sales of that game will absolutely surprise people. And there are people who have PlayStations who also have Switches who will say, I'll play Persona 5 again on the Switch. Okay. Like, there are people who will double dip. So I don't know how. Okay, you know what? I'll say it again. It'll be on the top 10 in sales, I think.
Yeah.
Specifically on Switch.
I think the more interesting thing that I'll be wondering when Sega's Q4 financial report comes out is if they will announce that they'll be going a little bit more harder on doing multi-platform ports, because I know last financial quarter they had said that we're considering putting some of our major franchise games into multi-platform development, but we're not quite sure if there's that much interest in it. And then they followed up with, we've made announcements that we've got a Persona 3 portable coming. We've also got Persona 5 Royal coming as well too, and then of course the announcement that Persona 4 Golden was coming to Xbox. So they clarified that that these games are basically kind of the litmus test on whether they really start to consider investing seriously on multi-platform development. So I'll be really curious to see what happens in January when they release their Q4 financial report. If Sega Sammy ends up commenting and saying something like, "Oh my goodness, we were surprised by the sales numbers of Persona 5 Royal, and the numbers speak to proof that we have to consider investing heavily into multi-platform development."
Now, this is all contingent on what the price of Persona 5 Royal is, because we still don't know what that is. If it's $60, do you think it will still sell on those platforms, or does it have to be like $30 or $40?
No, I think Persona 5 Royal is still new enough that there's still a contingent of people that are more than willing to dole out $60 and go, first time on PC, don't care. $60. That's what you want, Atlas? Here you go.
Yeah.
We're giving it to you.
Okay. All right. I kind of have to agree with you too, even though I wouldn't do it, but I agree. Like, if it ends up being 60, I can see a lot of people still plunking down the money to get it. Okay. Thank you for listening to this podcast segment. The Capital Games podcast is done every week, and we post it on all your favorite podcast apps, as well as segments on YouTube. If you want to listen to another segment, you can listen to a new one right there on the screen. We also do a movie podcast called the Capital Games Movie Club. If you'd like, you can go ahead and click on that and see all the movies that we have reviewed from that point. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you soon.